This is Sherry. I am going to do a flip through of a journal that I created from a little golden book. These journals are for the founding volunteers for our reading room at the Boys and Girls Club. So the golden book, I deconstructed the golden book and I kept the foil intact because that's a trademark of this particular series, and but I replaced the spine itself. So if you look inside, you can see that it has a flap on the front and the back, and that's where I glued the front cover to that flap and the back cover to the back flap. This cardboard or cardstock is essentially a Triscuit box, kind of the side of a Triscuit box. So I took that and I covered it in fabric, and that worked quite well. Each of these books have 2 signatures, so I kept it at 2 signatures, but they have a lot more pages in it, as you'll see. One of the strategies that I tried to follow is I tried to use only recycled items or just leftover items from various other crafts. I tried not to buy anything new. Even the little corners, I turned out to have enough of them for all 7 books, but only 2 per book. So I put them on the front cover. I punched a hole in the front and the back and put an eyelet there where I threaded a piece of bias tape that I had just unfolded and ironed, and I used that to essentially secure the book. So if you open it up, there's a little note to the recipient, and then you can see the first signature is right here. So I start with a piece of scrapbook cardstock, and I have folders that I have sewed onto it. This is the stamp that we use for the Little Free Library, and this is essentially what got us all started with the whole reading room idea. I insert several sheets throughout the book, these little stationery sheets, which are nothing more than a piece of scrapbook paper just cut in quarters and embellished with like little stickers and things like that. And that, of course, is for journaling, if you want to be able to take a piece of paper out and write on it. And then I also include a lot of these pictures that I've taken over the past couple of years and have used for various events, but I didn't want to throw any of them away, and so I use them for lots of different things. In this case, I tell the story about how the Little Golden Book series got started. More stationery pages. And then this is the first page of the golden book, this particular golden book itself. All of the pages are included and they are in order, but the idea is that you can journal on top of them. You can write on the blank spots, you can write over the pictures, over the text, whatever you want to do. I tried to put in several of these sheets. This is simply tea-stained pieces of paper, blank paper that you can draw or journal on. And then I deconstructed a few other books and I used pieces, remnants of them in this book. So starting with this page, I used this book called the Woodsy Newton Book of Words, and it's really big. I kept notes on all of these books, just basically trying to track if they had any particular value. This one did have some good value, only if it was intact, and this particular one was pretty tattered. So I essentially just pulled all the pages out, and then I'm reusing them in these journals. And one of the reasons is because they are actually very high quality pages. They are sturdy, so I don't have to worry about them tearing. They have good color, great pictures, and cute little stories, even though you may only get a tidbit of a story since it will only include a page here and there. But it's but I think they worked out really well. But it was such a big book, I folded it over, glued the sides down, and then lined the edge with rickrack and create these little pockets. And this one, of course, just more stationery. On the front here, I also cut out some of the pictures and then just glued it on the page and created a little tuck spot. In each of these journals, I also document 3 stories. I call them volunteer moments. They're just, interesting little incidents that happen during the volunteering effort that I thought were really nice and worth noting, and at least for me, worth remembering. So I include 3 of my personal stories, in here as well. So here's another page. Now, this page is actually from a worksheet, and I took several quotes and affirmations that I collected, over the year. We read Charlotte's Web, but sometimes it's just interesting little notes, and I glued them on these pages, kind of over the worksheet exercises. Then I also, one of the other books I deconstructed. This is kind of like a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, where it's got all these exercises in it. And again, the book itself was tore apart, but the pages were very much intact. So I included them. Some of them are actually filled out and quite hilarious. So that was another reason why I wanted to stick some of those in here. Another page. This page. Well, this is the center of the first signature, and this is one of the paper doilies that I use, a paper doily that I use that I really like. You can journal on this side, but it is in the middle between this super wide page of a book, and I don't have the cover of this book, but it was really big, and I liked it because it had all these really cool illustrations, and so I wanted to keep it and reuse it in some way. So this, I think, will be particularly helpful if you do want to journal quite a bit, because the illustrations are fairly washed out looking, like they look like watercolor, so it would be easy to journal over that. This is another page from the book, another Wimpy Kid. I almost forgot. Okay, let's go back to this first worksheet. I could have put it on the second worksheet, but I also had added an envelope, and all I did here, this was just a used envelope, and I covered it with scrapbook paper. I lined it, I inked the edges just to create a nice little pocket. And in here, I include pictures of all of us reading room volunteers. And I can store those in this little pocket all by themselves. And then I just attach it by folding that flap over the page. And then I created this decorated paper clip with just a tassel and a few beads, and it's also got these cute little charms at the bottom, the little star charms, and I had just enough of all of that, to make all of my journals, so I used that to secure that envelope to that page. Now let's catch back up. This is the other side of that page, more affirmations and quotes and funny little quotes here. The Golden Book page, the other half of the Woodsy book with another pocket and stationery, the other half of the tea stain paper, the Golden Book story, and then this is the back half of the scrapbook page with these sewn in pockets. And this again has stationery, but I also included a flashcard. I have a stack of mismatched flashcards, and I decorate those for various purposes. This particular one, this is a stamp. It has a little ticket, and this ticket was actually used at one of our events. It's got a tiny little piece of lace and a heart, and I think it just makes it look cute. And on the back of this, I include the science behind why or how gratitude makes you happier, and it's I always found that very interesting, so I like to include that. And on the back side, this back pocket, I house one of I call these little creatives, and they're just fun little side projects. This particular one is designed to look like two tags that are cut out of chipboard and just connected together almost like a little book in and of themselves. Now, it turns out this was made from the program that we used at a big fundraiser event that we had this year. I had a lot of programs left over, so I'm using them, and they're sturdy, right? So I'm using that for this. And then I just decorated it with pictures from the event. Let me take a few of these out. So you can see, and the recipients will recognize all of this stuff. These are the kids that were making the flowers. Some of this is tissue paper that was left over from the flowers, that they made. And then some of this is just the program showing through. Then on top of that, I used pieces from a third deconstructed book, which is this Curious George book. And you'll see I use these pages in several different ways. Again, it was falling apart, and I just used the pages that were salvageable. And in this case, I created these little pockets. So one piece of paper, and it folds right over the corner, and it creates a little pocket on both sides. And I did that for each tag. And then I take some of the pictures that we have, and they all are blank on the back, so you can journal on the back. And I just stick those pictures, in these various pockets. But this little tag, it's got little eyelets, and then of course a bit of twine at the top. Okay, so here is the second signature. And this one starts out with a heavy-duty tuck spot that I sewed in. This series of characters, of course, is from the Woodsy book that I just cut out and glued on a piece of scrapbook paper and then sewed it in. So it's a nice sturdy pocket for me to put something. And in this case, it's kind of a hefty creative, so I wanted something that was fairly sturdy. This is a payment envelope, so it's got the little window, and I basically just covered the payment envelope, and I have decorated it based on this one particular book that we all read together called All 13. So this is what the cover of the book looks like. This is the book about the soccer team that got stranded in the caves in Thailand. So here's the team, the boys, and this one little picture, that's a map that shows what the caves look like. And then it's got, essentially our discussion points from the book on the back. And then I have another tag that talks a little bit more about the rescue. And then I have a pocket, an extra little pocket that is on the top here. And what's in here is a tiny little diver's logbook. So this book was made from the paper silverware holders that you get at Fajita Street. So I took one, I cut it in half, put them together, and then bound them with this one tiny little signature. And I have essentially 4 pages that all have pockets. And in addition to that, I included a page from my own dive book, just to lend a little more authenticity to the fact that it was a diver's logbook. But the idea here is I have little tidbits that spark your memory as to all of the different things that took place, in the story. So for instance, this one little tag, that's a picture of a pulley with a description of what they had to do, because they had a fairly intricate pulley system in order to rescue the boys. And then I just slipped that, in here. This page I did not decorate. It is pretty sturdy. It's cardstock, but it is a chipboard for paints and stuff. But the idea is that the recipient, could decorate these things further than what I've done. Here's another one of the Woodsy pages, and this one includes just one of those pictures I was talking about, and on the back I just painted it with an acrylic paint, so you can journal on it as well. Another little tuck spot there. more tea stain paper, more Wimpy Kid journal. This is a second creative. This one is comprised of another page out of the Curious George book. One of the things we did this year, which was super fun, is during Halloween, each of the volunteers created a picture of themselves, a caricature of ourselves. And we recreated the series called Who Would Win, using animals versus each of the different volunteers. And so it was really fun. And I just wanted to, capture that memory. This pocket is a really cute one page out of the Curious George book, but folded in such a way to create all these little pockets. So, and then it's got a pocket on the back. So if you put all of those in, it basically gives me a way to store all of the pictures, in this one pocket. More of the book, tea stain, more of the book. Here is another simple creative. It's just essentially a card made from some of those pictures, and then the second of the volunteer moment stories. And then I put an extra little affirmation here to serve as a text spot for, for either another picture or a journaling card. Now, in the middle of this journal is a small piece of cardstock, but it is covered in a napkin. And I like the effect of this, so I do this fairly often. And it's pretty simple, but you can do anything with these. You can further decorate them. Here, I am just going to use that as a means of keeping track of that card. So I have a little paper clip to secure that. Another card to journal on, more stationery. And this is, I think, the last of the creatives. I think I had 3 or 4 of them in here. This is another payment envelope. So you can see this is what the envelope looks like. So I decorated it, and I folded in half. This is, of course, the little payment see-through window right here. But I folded in half to create kind of like a little house. So there's the window with the door. And when you open it up, I have several quotes and affirmations and things like that that I put in here that the recipient can, use in the book or whatever. And then you can also journal on the back of it. And then I secured this one with just another paper clip. And the last of the Woodsy pages, and here's the last page of the second journal. And this is the third story, the third volunteer moment story. And one of the things I like about this, the way that this works, is it's just a flap that goes over this last page. You don't need the paper clip to secure it, but I like the paper clips. So I have that there. And that is it.